time. And a great example of that for many of us have been Hudson Yards. The amount of subsidies that they got versus what was put here versus the type of affordable housing that was received. Most of the stores that I saw here were luxury brands. Now, I came here for a meeting not too long ago and tried to get some lunch. And to my surprise, I went to Cinderella, tried to get some food. They were cashless. And that added insult to injury to me. Richie Torres actually has a bill trying to ban cashless establishments in this city for a good reason. 12% of people who live in New York City are unbanked. 25% of people who live in the city are underbanked. They should have the ability to buy groceries and food for lunch, even if they can't afford much of anything else that's in here. And to the extent that they're cashless, added salt in the wounds to a project we all knew was not for the majority of this city to begin with. If I'm not mistaken, they got $6 billion in tax subsidies. We read something way back that they were going to have at least 20% of affordable housing, which we thought was too small. It turns out the agreement seemed to be around 10% of affordable housing, a quarter of which have been built so far. It is quite clear that this project was not for the majority of this city. To the extent that it's beautiful, it can help with tourists, it's awesome. But we can't do it on the backs of New York City people who are fighting for housing homelessness, trying to buy food to eat, and can't even buy food to eat if they work around here because Cinderella and Sweet Greens behind me and others are cashless, making it quite clear who is welcome here and who is not. And as we were planning this press conference, we saw a news article that opened the wound even further as they were adding salt to it, explaining that Hudson Yards got $1.2 billion off a visa program that's here. And it's stunning. Hudson Yards is down here. They created a gerrymandered district that goes all the way up to 110th Street to include NYCHA houses so that rich people who live in other countries can purchase visas to get their families. So quite literally, this project was built on the backs of people who need the most help. I mean, this is astonishing. This is a employment zone that they've created. My guess is not a lot of people from here are employed here. Even if they are employed here, they probably can't afford to shop here. And if they go to lunch, they better not have cash. This project more and more is beginning to show how far this country is being torn apart between the haves and the have-nots. This kind of visa program, by the way, is used by people like Jared Kushner. So people now who are rich and can afford $500,000 or $1 million can actually pay for a visa for someone to come to this country. But people who are running away from violence will have their children stolen from them and be put in cages. Visa, the other type of Visa, Visa MasterCard, I want to get this right, they call themselves the driving force behind the dream of a cashless future for everyone, everywhere. So Visa, the other type of Visa, is a sponsor for what's going on here, and their dream is to be cashless everywhere for everyone, which is a good dream, only if you're bringing everyone with you. And so what we're asking today is that the minimum that can be done is people like Sweet Green and Cinderella rescind their cashless program so that anyone who wants to perhaps eat lunch have the ability to do so. And thankfully, I happen to have a credit card with me so I can buy some lunch, but if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to. We already know who most of these places are for, but the companies themselves can at least pretend to be for all of New Yorkers by rescinding their cashless program. We're asking them to do that before the city council acts in a manner of good faith. And then ancillary to that, Hudson Yards at least build the 10% minimum affordable housing that you say you are. And I hope that this project and what's happening now, when we are saying that this is a problem for future projects, that people just don't try to push us to the side and pretend we're being hyperbolic, because we're not. We simply are not. 10% affordable housing is not enough. They haven't even built that. This visa program shows right now they want to use poor and working class folks for other people and not provide a welcome for them here by having the cashless program. And so I'm glad and thank you everyone for coming out today. We hope that you really push this story and ask those businesses, why is it that they have a cashless program so that all New Yorkers cannot partake in what everyone's saying is such a good program and such a good project, but only some people are getting to celebrate that. So I'm happy to take any questions.
I don't quite understand the visa thing. We're all familiar, I think, probably with wealthy people buying visas so that they get that. How is that connected to the NYCHA housing?
Oh, so in order to get that program, the TEA, the Targeted Employment Area, they have to create a targeted employment area to show that they have a high level of unemployment in that area. Chelsea is not that high unemployment area. It's not the targeted employment area that they need. So we're here. Had they done it anywhere around here, they wouldn't have got it. So this is the map that they drew to go all the way up to the NYCHA housing. So this has now become their targeted employment area. And because they include the NYCHA houses all the way up close to Harlem, they get an extra 1.2.
That targeted employment area creates the area so that people who would live in that can get visas? Or?
No, so now because of this area, foreign investors can put money into the project and then purchase visas for their family.
But how is that going to benefit? I'm sorry, just to follow up on Dave. So how is that going to benefit anybody up there?
It doesn't.
Okay.
This is what we're saying. This project in no way benefits the ordinary New Yorker in this city. And to add insult to injury, they're not even accepting cash in many places. So if they happen to work somewhere nearby, they can't buy lunch.
You advocate boycotting cashless establishments?
I think people should stop eating at places that are cashless because they really are making it clear that they don't want everyone to shop there. And I'm happy that Richie Torres has a bill out, and I believe the speaker is supportive, and I hope they pass that ban as fast as they can. It's the combination of things that it's so blatant. The combination of, we said there was too much substance here but not enough housing to begin with. They haven't built the housing. They're making it so that it's cashless so that everybody can't even eat if they wanted to. And then on top of that, we find out they had a gerrymandered targeted area to get more money infused, even including the people that this is not for to begin with. How insulting.
The state drew this zone. What are you calling for specifically for them to do moving forward in terms of what changes they can make to how this TA zone gets drawn? I mean, what do you want C to do? What do you want Governor Cuomo to do? The city has very little power on how the zone gets drawn.
Yes, the city has very little power over this. We do have power over the cashless, so I'm hoping we can get that fixed. I'm definitely calling the state to review this because this makes no sense. I mean, there has to be a package of things that we're talking about, and if we're saying that certain parts of the cities doesn't get to benefit from a project like this, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand how this does anything but just make it abundantly clear on a map that we just want to use one portion of the city to benefit from another. So this shouldn't be allowed. And we're trying to research now how that can be changed in the state, but it is a state thing. We think the governor and the leaders in the state should be looking at this, and I hope they are. And I'm thankful for the reporting that was done in this. This happened to be on the back of what we were planning to do around cashless to begin with.
So in the end, the businesses need to hire folks from these types of facilities, or this is just...
I don't even think they have to hire folks from there. I hope they did. But my understanding is they don't even have to. This is just them saying it's a targeted area, and we're using this to get some additional funding.
Yeah, I mean, to follow up on Laura's question, though, I'm curious, now that we
I mean, there could be one. You either need to make sure that this zone can't go up. I think there was a question somebody asked, so you can just draw a straight line to Albany, and they said, well, it might look a little crazy, but you probably can. I mean, that has to not be right. So we have to look at that. So minimally, maybe you say that it can't go geographically further than a certain point away from the project, or maybe you have a minimum amount of hiring requirements from the places that you're including. I mean, that's not even in there. But even if they were hired, they probably couldn't shop here because the 12% of the people who are unbanked and 25% who are underbanked, I would just venture anecdotally to say that a lot of them might be in the same areas that they're using.
So you mentioned these two eateries here, but obviously there's cashless places all around the city. So is your message today that everybody should boycott, not go to those places, get the message out that they don't want any kind? Obviously there's the legislation going through, but in terms of what you're calling for today, is it just here in Hudson Yards or city?
No, there should be no cashless establishments in the city of New York. Period. There's no reason to have cashless. If you want to lean toward credit, it's fine, but you have to have some place that registers something that accepts cash so that we're not saying to New Yorkers that you're not welcome here. That's basically what it said. If you have cashless, we're saying that 12% to 25% of New Yorkers are not welcome to eat or shop in this establishment. That is an unacceptable message to send. And it's just exponentially more to be happening here based on the combination of what's going on. And so I would recommend that people who live in the city don't shop there. And if you do, let them know that you are not happy with what they're doing. If they don't change, you're going to bring your business elsewhere.
What do you see a sort of precedent being set up here with how this visa program is being used for other projects? When I know we had the Amazon situation, but what about other companies who want to come in, or other big developments that want to come in? My understanding is a version of this also happened with Atlantic Yards. The same visa program was used, similar lines were drawn that ended up not covering the places that actually needed the funding the most. So what does this mean today for that next big project that might come down the road?
This is a terrible precedent. What I'm hoping out when we look at it, people say, Hudson Yard, we may have put too much taxpayer dollars from what we got back. And then on top of that, a program like this, what you don't want to do is throw everything, the baby out with the bathwater, right? So if you're going to use a program like this, you either have to make sure it's in the area that we're talking about, and if it's not, that there's some tangible benefits to the people that you're covering in this area. That did not happen here. My suspicion is that it didn't happen in Atlantic Yard. You cannot keep creating these things on the back of people who need the assistance the most. And so my hope is that we're using this to understand, like, people think we're speaking only in hyperbole, and we're not. What did the folks in these housing benefit from Hudson Yards? The only people who benefited were the people who could afford to pay $500,000 to $1 million to get their families visas here, while people are having their children stolen at the borders. Well, we have to make sure if you're going to do this, which in itself is questionable, there has to be tangible benefits to those folks. They didn't get employment and they didn't get housing. That is unacceptable.
Last question. Thanks. I'm trying to understand just the objective. I did the cashless thing.
Yeah.
But as far as the EB-5 visa, it's supposed to be about employment, right? So, I mean, you could take a subway to your job in Midtown or whatever, but so wouldn't that benefit people who are living...
But my understanding is they didn't have a targeted amount of employment for this group. They just used it so they can get the money in. Not necessarily that they said we're going to hire 50-60% of the people here.
But isn't it about proximity to the area where you can get a job and take transportation?
No. So how many people got jobs from here? Like, they're up in Harlem now. So this project has benefited from over $1 billion just on this program. And who benefited up on 110th Street?
Maybe somebody who works.
You got to have at least housing or employment for these folks. So our understanding is we got neither. And they probably can't even eat it. That's a combination on top of us, the problems we said that was here.
Do you have a status of where the cashless bill is at right now? I know it's had a hearing.
Yeah.
And is there enough support in the council? Have you talked to the mayor about it? I mean, what
My sense is that there is support. You're going to have to speak to the city council to figure out where it is. I want to make sure that I'm clear on the record of how much we need that bill, how much I support that bill, and this is case study number one.
Jumaane, what do you say though to, and this is just a cynical line, but we would look at what you're saying with all of your concerns about the poor not really being thought of at all in this project, and they would say, welcome to New York. I mean, this happens all the time, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know, and there's some of us who are screaming about it all the time, and there are folks who say, they try to push the voice of what we're saying to the fringe, and we're exaggerating what the problem is. And you have a mayor talking about a tale of two cities, but I don't feel like the issues that we're talking about are being addressed and the things that he's put forward. This happened to be a gift from the Bloomberg era, but I'm not sure we've done much better to address those concerns, even in the rezonings that we've done. The problem is these are not one-off things. This seems to be the way we do business, and we can't continue to do business this way and act like we're doing something that's beneficial to the city who needs it the most. I can't tell you how outraged I was. Like we were here just for cashless, and then we saw this. It's plain as day. I don't know what else you need to say about how these things are operating, and that folks who are pointing this out are not on the fringes. We are exactly right about what is happening, and we get proven right every single time, but they keep trying to do it over and over again.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you.
Are they the only two stores in this hotel that are cashless, or are there other stores that are?
What did we find out?
There are other stores, some retail stores, some restaurants that are also cashless.
To be clear, most of it is luxury. It's unfortunate, right? But he should be able to eat. That's at least be able to eat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey Jerry, I need to get a shot of this.
Sir. Steve? Sir. Reporter. Sir.
Dave,
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
Sir.
I went inside to use the bathroom.
Hey, I would need to have.
And that's my thing, like, what makes thing about Amazon, at the end of the day, like, this has been happening, it is happening. And at least Amazon, as was being said, at least bringing jobs.
Just take a step back.
Are you taking this now?
I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, let me bring it.
Sorry.
One, two, three. Rance reached out about the statement, but I'm going to follow up about the
I think we have a shot of this week.
Did you get a shot of the graphics showing Hudson Yards and how warm it is?
I have a right shot. I have one from Hudson Yards up. I have one from
Okay.
Well, move your hand real quick.
Yeah, I'm splitting. Give me 1 second. Just for my reference, I should take a picture.
I'll take a